Willkommen zurück auf den Kanal. Welcome back to the channel. Ich bin Lang. I'm Lang.
Wassalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the channel. J'espère que vous allez bien. I am a dog.
And today, what we're gonna be doing is narrating, telling you guys our story of how we met, also our language journeys, and our experience in EF Paris, which is, spoiler alert, where we met. So, yeah.
Yeah, and before we get into the video, please make sure to subscribe and like our content as we get views and you get free content. What could go wrong? Anyway, so Lang, delve into basically your history of growing up, your interest and fascination in languages, and eventually how you started studying French and went to EF Paris.
Yeah, so basically, I was born in Madrid, the capital of Spain. And my two native languages are Spanish, which of course I learned while growing up. And when I was 5 years old, I moved to the United States of America, to Houston, one of the biggest cities in Texas. And from there, I learned English for 3 years. And then when I was 8 years old, I came back to Spain. I've always had a long-term interest in languages. When I was 9 years old, around 8 or 9 years old, I started learning German at school as an extracurricular activity because I was very interested in the language. I wanted to know a little bit about it. But soon after I started, about 1 year into German, I quit because I found it uninteresting. So that's kind of ironic. So when I was 12 years old, later on, as I already said, I started learning French. And I've been learning French ever since. So that means that I've been learning French for a total of 4 years, almost 5 years now. I've also learned quite a little bit of Latin, but I stopped learning it because it's kind of hard, and it's also a pretty harsh language with a lot of inflection cases, and I feel like it wasn't worth my time. But I feel like what I did learn is really useful, and I really enjoyed doing that. And so, can you tell us a little bit about your story now?
Yeah, of course. So I was born here in America. And of course, I only grew up speaking English. I went into high school, and here in America, you have to take a language course, a foreign language, for at least 2 years out of your 4 years in high school. In most places, they only offer two languages, that's Spanish and French. So, me being the pretentious Giga Chad that I was, I chose French. I didn't really learn French. I got passing grades, but it's just the school system didn't really work for me. My teacher was great. My teacher was probably the best teacher I ever had, but the learning environment just wasn't for me. And also, a very important factor to know is that COVID had just ended at that time, and COVID really impacted the education system. So us kids were kind of behind. I transferred schools and going into 11th grade. I decided to take my third year of French. I noticed that all the kids were kind of ahead of me because it was a different school, different curriculum. But I still passed. I still got good passing grades. But at that point in my life, I realized that as an American, I feel like we're monolingual. Is basically just the it's basically just the
Well,
theme of the
yeah.
story. We're just
Well, yeah.
monolingual.
That's the stereotype,
Yeah, yeah.
isn't
It's
it?
it's a very depressing life. We don't have another language that we usually grow up with, and I realized that I really do want to explore the world. I really do want to experience another culture, and I don't want to learn a language anymore to just try and get a grade. So, at the turn of 2024, this year, so literally on January 1st, I made a New Year's resolution to learn French, basically. So, I started from scratch, and I basically self studied French for 6 months. So, I would self study French on my own at home, and then at my school, when I had class, I would practice speaking with my native French teacher. And within 2 months, I was ahead of every single one of my classmates. Before then, I was asking help for my
Nice.
classmates on how to do things, but now everyone was asking me, even native speakers. There was this one girl who was taking the class because she was a native speaker, but she wasn't really good at writing, and she was asking me questions because I just self studied the language by myself. And it shows that when you really have motivation for something, that you'll do it. So I basically started self-studying the language for 2 months, January and February of this year. I took a break for about 3 months because school got harder. I had to get a job, so that got really hard to do it at the same time. So I kind of took a break, and then in
Yep.
June I
Yep.
started doing it again. So it took me 3 to 6 months to learn French, and that's my very long story.
Thank God you learned French because otherwise we would have never had met. Because as we all know, we met in EF Paris. I believe the first day we saw each other was July 1st in class, or July 2nd. I can't really remember. But I do remember it was a Tuesday, and so I was the only guy in class. I was literally surrounded by girls who obviously had a pretty high level of French because we were in B2 level. What I remember is being surrounded by girls, and then suddenly the class starts. The teacher is also female, so I'm like, bro, I'm not getting out of here. And 5 minutes into the class, suddenly there's a knock on the door, and we all turn our heads, and it's this guy who seemed to be like lost, and he was like, "Oh, is this B2 French?" And we were all like, "Yeah." And so the teacher was like, "Come in." And he sat right next to me because there was a free seat next to me to my right. And so from the first minute, I really remember that we really got along. From the first minute we met each other. I don't know if you also remember that moment. What do you remember from that moment?
I remember entering the classroom, and it was just like it felt like a board meeting of just like women. It was just girls, and I turned my head scanning for an open seat, and then I just see this one little guy right here sitting down, and there was a free seat right next to him, so I sat right down next to him.
Yeah.
And I immediately just connected and started talking. Like I don't remember the lesson immediately starting, so I just had a conversation with you, and I immediately started thinking, okay, this guy's probably pretty smart. And there's actually a good reason why I thought this. Well, one, it was all girls, right? There was like so many of us. There was like 20, maybe. How many was in there?
Yeah.
18, 20.
I think we were like close to 20, like
Yeah, there
around
was like
20
20
students.
students. So there would be 18 girls, and there would be me and you. And that's why I thought you were pretty smart because, well, you're the only boy in there, so obviously it's predominantly female. But also, I've already had that experience where I was the only man in my class. And when I transferred schools and I went to French 3, there was about 15 girls and there were about 3 guys. And when next semester rolled around, I was the only guy. I immediately found you interesting, and I just talked with you, and you told me that you were from Texas and stuff, and that you grew up speaking Spanish.
And we started talking about all of these languages like Dutch, German,
Mm-hmm.
even
Dutch, German.
Chinese,
Yeah, we
which
started
is a
talking about
language
Chinese.
we both really want to learn in the future. And so we had a lot of points in common from the very beginning. We definitely hung out with a Belgian friend as well. Mikey graduated a week earlier than me, and so if you want, you can show them your certificate if you have it with you.
I don't have it with me, but I can record a video after where I show them my certificate.
Alright.
Or put it in a photo.
And so I have this certificate I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Graduated B2 level in EF Paris. 1 week later.
yeah, so it was kind of sad to leave a little bit early. 2 weeks was really not enough. Did you missed me? I hope you did. You missed me, right?
Yeah, I did.
The
I did. When I
correct
saw
answer.
you leave with the Paris subway, Paris Metro, yeah, it really like hurt.
Yeah,
I
I was
was kind of
sad.
feeling, yeah,
Mhm.
I was feeling the nostalgia in that moment, even if we were seeing each other obviously, but I feel like at that point I was losing, or not losing, but it wasn't gonna be the same thing without you, because you were like a really good friend to me, of course. And so it wasn't fun. That moment wasn't fun.
Yeah, so that was a very sad moment leaving you, but it also shows the importance of learning languages. Even if you meet people that you'll eventually have to leave, you'll always remember those moments. Me and Ped were able to have those moments because we overcame certain challenges in learning languages. Um, if we both didn't decide to start learning French and both didn't decide to go to EF Paris and both somehow get the same level in French, we wouldn't have met. So it's just really cool stuff like that happens in your life when you open yourself up, when you get rid of your comfort zone and you travel the world.
Exactly. Yeah, that's proof that that's proof of the importance of language learning. Like, language learning isn't just about uh, actually learning a language, which obviously is the main goal, but it's also about opening your mind to other cultures. And if you're financially capable, maybe do some language trips like we did, and you'll meet a lot of amazing friends. Like, that's definitely something that you will not regret. And those people who you will meet, you'll remember for a long time. As I will remember Mikey, of course, and hopefully we will be able to see each other. But yeah, that's basically it.
Hello guys, Lang here. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this is your introduction to our channel, thank you for listening to our story and what we're all about. Make sure to subscribe and check out our other videos so you know how to learn a language. And also, please like this video and comment down below, especially if you would like to see the full uncut version of this video. It's about 34 minutes long, so if you'd like to see that, then we will release that. But for now, thank you for tuning in. Salut.